All right, so good morning, guys. So we're gonna break down winning characteristics of a few stocks that have been running this year. I think they started last year and kind of follow through this year. So, answering the question, another question, just commenting on if you being becoming a day trader. So I would recommend to start analyzing bigger time frames, weeklies and dailies. It will help you to get a bigger perspective, how people position, what people position where, right? Because we want to have stocks that have not only interest from scalpers, we want to have stocks with the interest from day traders, right? Swing traders getting interested, and investors, right? If all of these people will be interested at the same time, right? That's when the stock has the most power and the movement will be powerful and strong, right? So all of these people ideally looking at the certain spots. Just an example on Dawkins, right? We're not going to break down Dawkins, but everybody looking at the breakout here, and never everybody looking on a final breakout here of this stage and this stage. As you can see, the volume coming in. Most of these people looking at these areas, and you should be looking too, right? So that's why you have to analyze the dailies and weeklies and analyze the VPA signals on them. So, all right, so let's start with CARR. Let's talk about this. I'm not gonna dig into fundamentals, and because they did have really good fundamentals, and that was one of the reasons the stocks actually had such a nice run, right? So as you can see, this was recently new IPO from 2020. Very nice start, 11 bucks to 60. So if we missed anything, we're not going to talk about this. We're going to talk about 2021 breakdown right here. Breakout, I mean. So as you can see, stock had a very strong push from this area, 11 to 41s, and then started to chill out a little bit. So we had a second retest, and earnings came out right here. We had a sell-off into the earnings, and then stock consolidated. So any entries in this area would be kind of a disappointment, and for your mental capital and your actual capital, because you would get stopped out. That's why we have to wait for certain signals, right? So the first signal, and we're not going to kind of look to the right on the daily. We're just going to look here and analyze this chart. So the first signal we were started to getting right here, right? So first of all, we had this bounce of the bottom after the earnings. This was our first signal on a volume spike right here. As you can see, this tiny bar was an arresting volume, and then big volume spike. The price went over 50 MA, 10 and 8 and 21 MA, right? Plus we have a downtrend line breakout. This is a first signal. We don't have to enter here because we don't know exactly. Maybe it's just going to be the same thing like here and then go back down, right? And then volume started to decline on a pullback a little bit, and very nice strong increase to the high. So we're having triple top. So then price gradually pulls back to 40s and start respecting 8 and 21 AMA. So ideally you want to be entering on a breakout. That's where, like I mentioned, most people looking at, right? And that's where most likely they will be entering. So this is, from the bigger perspective, this is our stage 2, right? Stage 2 continuation. So stocks move in stages, right? You have stage 1 accumulation, then you got stage 2. You got stage 1, ooh, big one. Stage 1 accumulation, then you gotta break out into this stage 2. This is stage 2, and then finally stage 2 ends, creates stage 3 right here. Oh my God. Ugly drawing, but anyway, stage 3, and then we have stage 4 downtrend, ramp up, ramp down, distribution going on, right? So ideally, we want to be entering right here on stage one, on stage two breakout at the beginning, or if at some point it does consolidation in the middle, somewhere, right? That's a stage two continuation, and that's what we got here, stage two continuation. All right, so let's talk about this daily. As you can see, we got signals. We have sign of strength, SOS, that's a sign of strength. We have a consolidation after earnings, stock acting well and coming and testing this area. Always put alerts. Always put alerts, set alerts for the breakout over 41.63. As you can see, stock gaps up above 41.63 and this area 42. How can you enter? You can enter on this breakout candle. This is runaway gap, right? Gaps above important level. They gap up this for a reason, so people would chase a little bit and they would sit in a nice profit already. So it's okay to take a first initial lot, even if we gap up like this. Keep in mind, you have to have a little bit wider stop below this breakdown area, ideally below this EMA. We don't know if it's going to work, right? That's why you want to enter probably small, 20%, 25%, and see if it's going to work. The second entry, usually the best, is on a pullback. As you can see, stock was consolidating sideways for a few days. Moving averages start to curl. Candles start to curl up too. Very nice pullback to 80 MA. The first sign on aiding on stock. Again, you can draw a little bit of kind of a range. As you can see, it's a little bit sloppy here, up and down moves, right? But it's curling, the price curling a little bit up. And this is the first area possibly to add around this 43 because it's holding above the breakout. It's consolidating above the breakout. It's holding moving averages, right? Holding the gap. This is bullish. And that's where I would add another lot. So what we want to see right now, we want to see the breakout and continuation of move higher. So we're having a breakout on a lower volume. It's not enough power, right? But then we have a day follow through. So very important. So when we look on a smaller time frames like 5, 10, 15, that's where we get a lot of noise and you can get shaken out, right? That's why it is very important to focus on a bigger time frame right here. Yes, we had a breakout, but volume was weak. You have to wait. We're still holding moving averages. You don't have to panic here. Wait for the next day to close and work. As you can see, next day came, high volume, pushing higher. And now, you set really nicely here. You have two adds, right? Let's assume we added twice. So now we still have to stick to our initial stop below the key level breakout, right? So the key level breakout would be in the zone. Boom. So the stop should be below 41.50. You can mitigate your stop a little bit, right? So it's going to be below 41.50 and below 20 MA. So we got two lots. So now you had a little bit of opportunity of selling, as you can see, because we were entering around this 42 into 44. But it's not that extended from moving averages. So I would still hold and ride. As you can see, getting a little bit sloppy doing a pullback. But what kind of pullback we having? You always do VPA analysis. Lower volume pullback, right? Lower volume pullback to the moving averages, respecting 21 EMA and bouncing back very sharply. Do I use hard stops? Yes, always hard stops. The stops that good to cancel. So they always open, but they don't trigger pre-market or after hours, right? So as you can see, stock continues to grind higher, and I already draw some lines here. So just want to show you how could we enter this position and not shaking out. Do not try to mitigate your stop, drive it close to 20 MA immediately. Because if you would do, you would get stopped out right here, right? So now, as you can see, stock started to consolidate right here in this range. It would take some time, that's fine. It is another drop below 20, right? That's why you still stick at it. If you don't feel a little bit comfortable on your first ad and second ad, and you see this a little bit of movement down, you always can unload a little bit into this 45.50, right, on a movement up, and stick to original stop. So plus, as you can see, 50 EMA started to curl up. That's where you probably want to put your stop eventually. And then we have a base breakout. This is a base breakout and a pullback. Another base breakout. Notice this stock likes to do base breakouts. There's a certain characteristics for this stock, right? So also we had earnings here. This is very important to see. That is why you probably also want to sell a little bit into this pop, because we don't know exactly. We bought it here. We don't know exactly. Should we hold the whole lot for the earnings? You also look at the prior history, how stock behaves during the earnings. Does it drop? Does it pop? How much in percentage, right? And it's okay to hold for earnings. If we bought it here, we have cushion, right? And plus we own two little sizes. Yeah, it's a cloud indicator, 8 and 21 AMA. Same as moving averages, 8 and 21. It's just visually nice to see that we in uptrend. Once the stock goes in uptrend, you sell in the strength, and you sell if there is weakness. If stock breaks below 20 EMA, like right here, maybe it was okay to take a little bit off, not everything, a little bit off the table, because it gives you weakness. As you can see, it was riding. This was the first sign from this breakout to take some profit, right? Of course, this was the first one because it's extended. This was the second one. This was the third sign when it starts actually doing moving average cross and breaking down. And this was another sign. All right, so I want to talk about this one. How could you spot all of this, the change in behavior, and get out of your position right here and even right here? So it's all about time frames, right? So here on a daily, we had a really nice run and the volume kind of started to die off a little bit. Nice push second time. Breakout over the prior pivot point, but what you see after? Rejection. It's hard to spot on a daily certain things. That's why we have to use weekly, right? Weekly doesn't show us anything here too. Okay, well, let's go on a smaller time frame and see the VPA signals, right? So I use hourly volume profile, right? So as you can see, and I'll show you how it works. So we're going to talk about this period here. So the stock runs, puts initial high, pulls back on the lower volume, spikes again, lower high. It's kind of giving us a sign of weakness here, rejection on a higher volume, pulls back, drops down to this initial breakout, right? Holding the moving averages and starts a little bit debuyers coming in here, as you can see on double bottom, and starts kind of grinding higher to the prior level. So coming to the prior level right here, doing a micro pullback in a few days. Then we have a breakout here. What do you see day after? We always look for signals of weakness and signals of strength for entry and exit. So what do we see after? Lower volume day, the average volume day, right? And the day after, we have a nice selling coming in. Actually, the big bars, this is hourly candles, the big volume came end of the day. Do you think people actually shorted here? I think some institutions shorted there, end of the day, because A, it didn't sustain the prior high right here, pivot point. B, it didn't close above the prior day candle. It actually formed dark cloud. This is first sign of bearishness. And then what we see after that, nice volume sell, right? So what else you can see spot here? Retest right here, and then fade back down, to this level. So this is a first sign of weakness. That's where you want to unload a little bit before waiting for 20 EMA. And again, you don't have to look at any 5 and 10-minute charts. What you have to do is just focus on the daily and hourly, what gives you signals. Then you had a breakdown on a bigger volume and retest here. Retest, and another sell. And that's where the big volume started to come, right? As you can see, the moving average start to curl down. You got a moving average cross. We got a signal downtrending stock. Why? Because we got a moving average cross here. And probably you want to unload another 5, 10, 15%, whatever, right? Protect your unrealized. Then stock drops down to the, and here's another thing I want to show you. This is point of control for the prior month. What do we see here? The stock drops exactly to the point of control, bounces, holding, and start losing here. Not only point of control, but also value for the prior month. And there's a lot of volume right now going on at the bottom here, consolidation. So it forms point of control right here for the current month, for the actually September. And it happens at the bottom. Probably there are a few D buyers stepping in, kind of trying to play the bounce of this area, but they're wrong, right? The price bouncing and making lower high here, and eventually squeezing right here to the bottom. Also, very important signal. Zoom in, see what you can find here. You know what's interesting here? That every single bar here touching the same price. Plus minus, right? So it's around 54.60. What does it mean? There's a limit player, there is some institution with a bid. They're sitting with the bid and they don't let the price to fall down. Maybe it's a market maker, we don't know. But once this ceiling, the floor goes away, what happens? Price usually falls. And we have a nice fall on the hourly here, opening lower and doing a retest exactly to that level. This is a very good sign. Of course, the volume spike, right? It's a very good sign for the weakness and the first short signal. You could actually short open position right here and have a nice 2-day swing or day trade, whatever you want. And then we have a retest. For a bigger perspective, I think if you took a short here, you should still stick at it, take some profit here and stick to a regional level as a stop and just continue ride this. I think there's more downside for the breakdown here coming. Of course, you can see volume increased, and that's how you could analyze the stock and trade. Of course, for very good profits, 41 to 57. Not a lot, like in terms of percentages, but very easy to understand. All right, let's talk about other stocks. BNTX. I'm not gonna dig deeper in details like I did on the other one. Want to make a shorter video, right? So, but the same case here. So we have a nice base going on here. Lower volume pullback, spike after earnings right here. What do you see after? What do you see after? Price started curl. First signal, breakout over the trend line, volume spike. That is the first entry. Yes, I'm also doing on YouTube. Yes, recording, I'll drop on YouTube. So this is the signal for the first entry. What else it looks like? Weekly, strong, above 30 and 10 EMA. So according to Stan Weinstein, stage analysis, you only buy stocks over 10 and 30 on a weekly. All time frames line up, big one, weekly and monthly. Weekly and daily. We curling above the moving averages. This is the first sign to go long, right? A little bit of stop. Then we have a breakout here, the volume increase, and a nice run up. You want to sell something. And think about this run up on BNTX. 120 to 220 in 1 month. And that's what I'm talking about. When you buy this, that's where all traders, everybody on the same page, and they hungry to own a piece. They hungry to buy here, and that's what you got it. And you have to sell into the strength. Because think about it, you come into this 220s, 215s, probably didn't sell the top, right? Probably sold around this 200. Maybe, well, it's still holding. You still have to hold because you don't know how high it can go, and it has strength. And if you didn't sell anything and the thing drops from 214 to 145, that's gonna hurt your mental capital. That's why you have to sell a little bit into the strength and a little bit on a weakness right here, right? A little bit here on a breakdown below the 20. The thing is we didn't close it, right? So we start pushing back and building this wedge. So this also happened into the earnings. Very often they just sell into the earnings, right? Or run into the earnings. So what we had run into the earnings between earnings and then sell before. So we're squeezing higher here. Yeah, no problems. Have a call. It will be recorded. You can watch it. So we're having a push here, retest, and the same situation. Low volume pullback, breakout. So the same winning characteristic right here we have in here. Now look at this. Very similar scenario, but this time this thing runs from 227 to 460. Even bigger push. Same thing. If you know it can do this, right? You have to sell into the strength, and you get another pullback. You got another pullback. Take some profit here, take some profit here, and a little bit different right now, right? It's not holding moving averages. Take some profit here, and now you have this ceiling, 319s. So not only that, you have moving average 50 coming on the way. And we bought it right here, right? We bought it 116, and we're still holding. We're eating and holding and selling, right? And now we have a big breakdown on what? On look at the volume coming in. Big breakdown on big volume. So you want to sell more. You want to lock more here to protect the unrealized. Keep in mind, we're still above 200-day moving average, right? So, and you long 119, you maybe want to hold a little bit still. We don't know exactly, but it also losing the weeklies here. So maybe I would hold a little bit, just maybe 15-20% of the leftovers, and see what kind of behavior we're gonna get around this area. Maybe start building bigger consolidation and push back to full 50s. All right, let's talk about another one, Moderna. Very similar scenario, but look at this basis. How many times we build this base? Very nice base, simple breakout right here. That's the first entry, go long. This is stage 2 continuation, right? Initial stage 2 breakout was right here. If we don't even talk about this one, 29.36. That was initial actually breakout on a maximum volume right here, and then run up, then a continuation of breakout right here, then a little bit wider price action and nice breakout, then follows through another flat top breakout right here, a nice volume spike, and that's where you gotta go long again. And this is the best entries for day trading. This is the best, and because the stock is strong, great fundamentals, great story, great chart, strong market, right? And that's where you got to be playing it. So not buying it here at the bottom, not trying to fish for the bottom, predict, because we don't know. You bought it here, you got smoked. You bought it here, you technically get round trip back if you didn't take any profits, right? Back to where you bought it. You bought it here, you got a very strong push, a pullback to the moving average, and just grind. No reason to sell. Strength, sell some. No reason to sell. Boom. Reason to sell. Maybe reason to sell. No reason to sell. No reason to sell. Lower highs. We're holding. Well, another reason to sell. And that's how you manage your position. So, and of course, very similar to BNTX, wedge. Wedge is broken. So now volume increasing and it's selling lower. Let's look at the other one. ASML. Very massive run. Look at this. From this base, we're talking about 330 to 900. What a run, right? Very nice breakout. So right here, so volume increased. We have a gap away run, as you can see. Breakout, pullback, and nice curl to the moving averages. Price again doesn't pull back too much. It's a bullish. There's a story, there's earnings, it is worth taking on the position. We have a risk for the breakdown area, and plus around the 200-day moving average, 21 EMA. And as you can see, stock writes this moving averages after. No reason to sell. No reason to sell, only into the strength. Breakout, running into the earnings, extended from moving averages. I would sell something here. Think about it. We bought it right here, right? We see, when we enter, we see this, right? And you start thinking, man, this was a breakout point, 408, now it's at 420, it's extended, I cannot take it. And you're missing on this, right? We don't know if this is gonna happen, but it doesn't pull back. One of the best winners, one of the best gainers, they never pull back. They're never gonna give you like a deeper pullback to the moving averages. This one gave you to 8 EMA twice, and that's what you should take on a small position. If you're just not confident, you can buy 10 shares, 20 shares, and then add on a breakout higher. Here's a micro flat top. Volume is low. Unfortunately, you shouldn't be taking this breakout because the volume is low. Volume increasing right here, and we start to grind. So as you can see, this was a nice breakout right here, initial run to the high here, and then nice pullback, another stage building here, another flat top. So I'll give you so many entries, and then another entry. So this was the first area where you probably want to take some profits because it's selling. This was another one right on the weakness, and of course right now at the top you got a big volume sell on this bar. First sign of distribution, then lower high build up, the second sign of distribution. You want to sell more bigger sizes, and then probably get rid of most of your position right here on the dump. But again, if we hold from 332, would you sell everything? No. This is just a blip. This is just a micro correction on a weekly and monthly. If you go back to MRNA, not that it made such an aggressive downside move, which would be the best point for short entry now? The retest of Friday or what? All right, so let's look at it. So like to look at the hourlies, right? Hourlies with good signals. So we're grinding here on a lower volume, higher volume on the top, reject. Then we have spike, retest on a lower volume, reject. So this is the point of control. The first entry probably would be right here on this day, or end of the day with such a weak closure, end of the day right here. I'm talking about 9/27, September 27 right here. And then you gotta fall down below the value point of control, retest a little bit of the prior month. We're talking about August point of control right here. And keep in mind, this is a wedge, right? Wedge building and the moving averages. What else you have here? A little bit of squeeze, bear flag building, and then dump. If you're still holding this stock, I mean, if you enter right here on a short, this would be the first entry, probably. Yeah, this would be the first entry to go short. This would be your second entry on a bear flag. And now you want to sell, take some profits covered here. And of course, I think there's more downside for this one coming. Always look at the VPOC area here. There's not a lot of volume right here. So we can fly for this area like nothing. You see, there's nothing going on here. So not a lot of support. I think coming back that it might come down to 250. You're gonna have some stops on the way, 300s. But this looks to me like stage 3, right? If we talk about playbooks, let me share with you a playbook. If we talk about stage, do I even have it here? Oh, different one. So I can show you this one. So we're talking about this. That's what is going on right now. See, stage 3 distribution. So we're done with this. And it looks like we're getting into this big drop, bounces. We don't know exactly. This could be a big stage 2, big stage of consolidation building here again for another leg up. We don't know exactly, right? So, but most likely by the action, high volatility on a top, big volume, drops, and massive run, be realistic, right? People gonna take profits. $360, $375 is a decent short zone. $375. I would say the decent short zone, it's on a breakdown. It's the same like breakout. You buy the breakout of the range, right? Breakout upside, same. This is the range. As you can see, this is the range, right? This is the range. And you want to anticipate for the range breakdown first, same like a breakout, right? Same as here. This is the range, squeezing, and you want to play the breakout. And then we play in the breakdown. Yes, you can say, well, there's levels here. Oh, that's why it's coming and kind of retesting here. And then you have another breakdown below this lows. That's where you want to be adding on a breakdown. Unfortunately, it opens with the gap down and sells really hard, right? But yeah, the best area to enter short is around the 409 at the lows here, and then inside this bear flag 376. Yeah. You don't have to take a screenshot. If you go to resources section called resources, is there resources? Yeah, one of those sections. Resources is one. Playbook. Scroll in the playbook section to the just scroll up, and you'll find. I'll share those. I'll share those. Yeah, I'm pretty sure I did share them there. If you can find, just let me know. I can drop it. All right. Few more stocks, guys. Few more stocks I want to talk about. ASML. We talked about this. You see, that's why you have to sell. And keep in mind, we took a day trade. We don't know how high it's gonna go. It still has a strength. You have to participate in these base breakouts. You have to. As a day trader, swing trader, you have to take them because that's a strength. But don't be one of those people who bought it here and now you're break even. That's the worst part. You have to sell into the strength and sell on a weakness, right? Protect the break even. Like, I remember we traded Netflix not so long ago. Very nice breakout here, right here, right? 599 break. And what it did, it broke, retest, you have to sell some, and then retest again, you have to sell some. So if you wouldn't sell anything and this pops a little bit, right, you would pretty much just be break even twice below your stop, and that sucks. So sell in a strength, especially when the market is tough like this. All right, a few more stocks, guys. ASAN. This is also another phenomenal run, as you can see, from initial breakout, Fade freeze, $224. That is insane. 272%. What kind of day trading gonna make you, like, I'm telling you, day trading and scalping won't make you reach like this if we just focus on the quality stuff like this. And it's not hard, we just gotta be patient and trade the right way. All right, so we have a falling, descending triangle, right? Double bottom, lower volume, earnings, second earnings come out, breaking, first sign, the breakout right here on a volume spike. Price goes above 50 MA, you see this arrow, I get a signal on my alerts. All right, watching this stock, and then earnings coming out, boom, spiking on earnings. So we're getting a breakout over multiple points. Always analyze this. You had a stage one breakout here. You understand this? This is a stage one consolidation, bounce, down, bounce, breakout of the stage one. If we zoom out, we have a little bit bigger stage one, right? So we got to break ideally this area, but it's okay to have an early entry for this micro stage one right after earnings to pull back to the moving averages, and then you get a nice volume spike. Volume, price, pattern, market conditions, great story, and you got a nice grinder. Look at the volume increase, especially after that breakout. So the first entry goes right here after earnings on a breakout, close to the moving averages. We've stopped towards this 35.50. It's two free bucks stop, maybe $4 stop. Then second entry right here on this day. Why? Because it's a breakout. Second lot goes right here, 20% here, 20% there, and you got a nice grinder. You got a nice grinder. Big volume spike, first signal to sell. Why? Anomaly, small bar, huge volume. Something is not right there. So let's sell something here. We just almost doubled. Sell something there. Stock still continues to grind. We sold in the strength. Boom, pop to 71. A little bit of rejection, right? Candle rejection. Sell something a little bit there. Small sizes, guys. 5%, get out, pay yourself. Pull back below the moving averages. A little bit of weakness. Sell something here in these two bars. But still grinding. Very nice grinder. Lower volume pullback. Another flat top. Earnings coming up, right? Boom, breakout. So on this bar, it's a good entry. So, but we got to see how it behaved, bro. It opened there, and at some point it went all the way down, right? So it's hard to say right now how could we take this, but this is okay to take after earnings for continuation of move, smaller side, and ideally if you own it from here, right? As you can see, it's still grinding. You want to sell something into the strength, this push. Big volume here on the high. Sell something on a breakdown below the moving average. And now it started doing something different, right? We didn't have it here. Closing below moving averages many times. So you want to sell something here as well. And that's how could we trade this. Let's look at the last stock, GLOB. Also very nice. We're going to talk about only this push. It was recent from August, right? From August, we had this nice breakout, flat top we could make on just one trade. Look at this, 41%. 41%, one trade. 235 to 335-ish. All right, so what are we having here? Nice consolidation. The power of the move comes from the longer consolidation, right? The rest. So this was a nice run up and stock decided to consolidate. What it is, it's a wedge, plus we have a stage 2. Bring this chart. So we have this set up right here. In stage 2, we often have this type of consolidations coming before the next move, right? We call them continuational stages. And this is a continuational breakout. So how could we spot this? Well, first of all, it would pop on my alert right here. Stock goes about 50 MA, but look at this, how many times it did this. It's called whipsaw action. When it goes up, down, that's why you don't want to touch any of this. I used to trade like this. I used to get a signal on a 50 MA right here. I'm like, oh yeah, now I see bottom, we're ready. Long on a pullback here, good, and then it goes back down. And then I'm like, man, and then if you didn't take any profits, you even gonna get stepped off with a loser, right? And this is a lot of frustration. What's important, the money and time. You buy in here, and you gotta wait how long in order to work? Too much. So it's over a month of stress, and your money is locked here, not making you any money, right? That's why it's important to buy the right time. So, and then here's another signal. This is a signal that brings to attention what reaction we have after this. Coming back to this level, price squeezing at the key level. At the key level right now. Where is the key level? Oh, right here. This is the key level. Right? Squeezing at the key level. The volume just doesn't confirm the breakout here yet. Then we have in a breakout, again, the volume is, we want to see volume spike. right? We want to see volume spikes. It's average volume going on here, like, and plus this is one of those lower volume stocks, 150, 160. As long as this a breakout, the market conditions great, and the volume is average and slightly above the average, we can take a potential initial long, right? And that would be first initial long on a breakout right here on this candle, 232s. Flat top, micro flag breakout over the important key level, right? So right here, we took it. Let's keep in mind the earnings coming right there. So we took that breakout, and then you got to pull back below the area. So your stop on this initial one always goes lower, right? Below the key level, below the 20 MA. So you would never get stopped out on this one. And this is only a small size. And then price curling down and gives you another one. Look at this. Plus, you get a volume spike finally here. Lower volume pullback and volume increasing. This is a second lot you want to add for the breakout, 243. Only for the strength, confirming the strength here. What do we see after? Nice run up into the earnings. You want to sell something into the earnings. Remember, the first lot was 232, the second lot 244. Now we're coming to this 260s, right? The earnings. You want to sell before the earnings something to protect this. All right, and what we see after? Earnings, crazy good reaction. No, we good. We good. Again, strength, 290, 300. Look at this extension. Look at this extension. Volume spike. I would be selling something again into this 310s because we have a gap up, small bar, so many green bars on a row or white bars on a row. You want to sell something, but don't panic. Don't look at the small time frame and like, oh man, it's reversing on 5 minute, on 10, on 15, on hourly. Daily will give you the best idea how to sell. All right, so back. Doji candle on the high, 310s. Hammer, okay, it's a little bit of sign of rest or weakness. No, stock continues. Another doji. All right. Okay. So we sold in the strength, right? Very often you would never pick the top. It's like impossible. And then is another sign of weakness. First time breaking 8 MA. Sell some more. Consolidating on a high. I already kind of drew these lines, right? But sell some more here, 311. 311. Boom. Okay. Let's zoom in on hourly. Zoom in on hourly and see what we see here, right? So coming and building this consolidation, lower high. Big volume drop. The biggest volume since this Friday. So give you a sign. And then even bigger volume since the breakout right here. Then dropping lower and pushing back. Rejection on this candle on hourly. You can see clearly it's rejecting some levels. So volume stacking on the top and rejecting. So we consolidating on the top with clear rejection on hourly candles. Doing this test again on this doji, right? And then rejecting again. Test, boom. This candle, you want to sell the most position on a breakdown below this levels on hourly. You want to clear your position, right? As you can see after that, below 50, you want to sell a little more. Great. What's our plan right now? See what it's going to do here. We are long here, probably still holding a little piece. So we want to see what it's going to do. Maybe it's going to build another consolidation and, you know, go back to 325 and break, right? And that's how we can trade these guys winning trades. Look for the market conditions. Look for the patterns. Look for the proper volume and price action, right? Look for the idea. Great numbers, earnings, sales, and you can find these amazing setups. Do you guys have any questions? All right, I'm gonna call it here. So this was a very nice breakdown, 45-minute video. You can rewatch. If you have any questions, let me know. All right, take care, guys. Hope you enjoy.